Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness, leading the movement for movement. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness certified pro, are you ready? Are you ready now? Probably ready now, or you might be ready in a minute. You can click the link in the description below. It takes you to the registration page, or you can learn more about how you can bring the absolute best, most meaningful, most effective, real world working fitness and adapted PE programs to the autism and neurodivergent population, wherever they are and wherever you are. So wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Seattle, Saskatchewan, Singapore, Sri Lanka, or here in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I reside, you too, yes, as a professional or parent, can become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro and become part of the movement for movement, and more importantly, bring fitness to a population that very much deserves and needs it. So in this particular Tuesday training, we're going to be talking about the band pull down. Now, we always start with the reasoning, the purpose behind exercise selection. We don't just choose exercises arbitrarily and say, hey, we're going to do jumping jacks because jumping jacks, or we're going to do push-ups because push-ups are good. If someone cannot answer the question of why an exercise is important or justify its use, then we have a problem. Because exercise selection is key to having outcomes. Exercise selection is key to having a training effect, meaning the exercise does the thing that it's supposed to do. In the case of the band pull down, the reason we use this is because many of our athletes, many of my athletes historically, my autism fitness programs, have not been able, do not yet have the strength and stability and motor planning to perform a pull-up or even an inverted row or a lat pull down. But a pulling movement, a vertical pulling movement, overhead downward to the shoulders or sternum area, is really important. If we look at the transfer generalization to activities of daily living, pulling something off a shelf, pulling a door open, pulling skills are important. Having that strength, having that stability. Even when we talk about long-term shoulder health and injury prevention, we want a strong upper body. So we want both pushing and pulling movement. So that's the justification for the pull down. It is a modified variation of a lat pull down or even a pull up. We are developing that movement and that strength skill where it does not exist. With the band pull down, the prerequisites are we need to have an anchor point overhead. Of course, you can hold the band, but that's only if you're much taller than the athlete, at which point you will be providing the resistance. And we want to have the athlete perform the movement through a full, healthy range of motion. And you're going to see this in just a couple seconds as my athlete, who is currently perseverating on something on the windowsill. You can see that over in the right-hand corner. All right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So when I set up the athlete, Mr. Z here, he is going to set up with his hands a little bit lower. So I want to facilitate a setup where his hands are higher up because we want him to go through a full range of motion. So he's gripping those bands. Right? I have those bands anchored to the squat rack overhead, and I'm facilitating this full range of motion pull down. So we go all the way overhead to the lockout at the end. Here are the two things that are likely to happen. Right? Thing number one that is likely to happen is the athlete is going to go really quick with the band pull down. If that happens, we are not facilitating that full muscular contraction, so the exercise is going to have less effectiveness. So we always want full range of motion as much as the athlete has. Thing number two that will happen if I am not prompting and facilitating this here is the athlete will go really quickly. Again, bypassing the full muscular contraction that happens when we have a slow, controlled movement. That's why doing something really quickly is not adequate, like a pull down or a press or a squat, because it bypasses that muscular contraction through the full range of motion, and then we don't have the intended outcome of the exercise. You can say, oh, we're squatting or we're doing a pull down, but is it happening in actuality? No, which is why we need to modify these exercises. That's where it becomes important. Now, here at the end of this set, and we're aiming for 10 to 12 reps typically. You see that control that Z has because I am facilitating it here with the hands and arms. And he also has that decent grip on there as we continue to work this. So key points in this band pull down are, and this is a good point to stop here, are you want the bands set up overhead safely, all right, so that they are anchored. Second, we want to set the athlete up so that they can go through full range of motion, meaning arms all the way up and then pulling down to the end point here. All right. Thing number 3 is we may need to facilitate or prompt the pull down by having our hands underneath the athlete's hands so that we can guide them through that full range of motion. Yes, this is very important. No, it won't go according to plan if we just let them do it independently a lot of the time, because the athlete does not yet have the appreciation or the skill to do the exercise independently. That is a goal. It may not start out there. Right? And so from here, of course, the progressions would be an inverted or bodyweight row. Eventually, we're talking maybe months or years and years and years, something like a pull-up or a modified pull-up, but we start here. And of course, we can always go with thicker bands that have more resistance. So I trust at this point that you appreciate how important the standing band pull down is. It fits into the program in the strength phase. And again, it's not just going to happen automatically. We have to understand how to program it, how to cue it, where to troubleshoot. And that is exactly the reason why you need to be in the Autism Fitness Level 1 certification if you want to learn about not only the standing band pull down, but all the exercises that we use, because it's not just about the exercises. An exercise is only going to be as effective as it is prompted, programmed, and cued. And that's exactly what you get in the Level 1 certification. I'm Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness. Like, share, subscribe to the Autism Fitness here on YouTube. Share it with your friends. Share it with your colleagues. Share it with people who go, oh, that makes so much sense, because I like those people. And I will see you next time on